Hey there, welcome to the garden. It is a very, very hot day, and even though we're in the middle of the heat wave, I'm still buying plants and starting seeds. Actually, yesterday I went to the garden center. I'll insert a little clip of some of the things that I got at the garden center. I'm just on a perennials kick and I just want all the perennials. So I got just a few fun things to get planted and kind of enjoy for the rest of the season. All things that'll continue to bloom all the way up really until frost. And then I also pulled out a few seeds that I'm going to get started, a second wave of squash, and then a bunch of perennials that I want to see if I can get a jump start on by starting them now. So I'll talk more about that, but first let me show you what I got yesterday. So I apologize for all of the air conditioners running because are we in the middle of a heat wave? Yes. Am I planting? Yes. I went to the garden center and I just had my heart set on some perennials. I am buying perennials with abandonment, and let me show you what I got. So this is a coneflower, obviously. This guy is called the Cheyenne Spirit, and it looks like it's a mix because there's two different colors even in this pot, and just like a classic coneflower, full sun, let's see, about 32 inches tall, and a real long season bloomer, which is really nice. So I have a feeling I'm going to pair this, I still don't even really know where I'm going to plant all these things, with this native. And this guy is a Magnus, which is a native for us, which is super fun. Let's see what the height is. 36. Okay. So I'm going to have a little echinacea section. I'll show you that when I get it all planted. But I also picked up some Rudbeckia Blackjack Gold, which is kind of like a smaller, sort of fun, different looking Rudbeckia. And that's going to be planted near this Heliopsis Summer Night, which I thought was just gorgeous. I love that. June through September. I mean, these are long blooming plants. Really fun. And then I did get a salvia, even though it's late in the season, it was on sale, so I just picked it up to add. And then another Russian sage. This one is crazy blue. It's a little bit shorter than my other Russian sage, and I may just do this in a container. Oh my gosh, it's so loud out here. I'm gonna check in tomorrow once I've got all these planted. I'm gonna plant tonight, and then I'll check in because I've got some other seeds to sow. Okay, so let's talk about my thought process with some of these perennials. I only want one of each plant because I don't really have a ton of room, but I still got some seed packets because even the $3, $2 seed packet is cheaper than buying the perennial at the garden center. And what my thought is if I could get them started now, even though we're really, starting early August here, at least they'll have a few months. I don't have a frost till the end of October, so they'll have a few months to get going. I'm going to try to keep them in my unheated greenhouse, at least, maybe until the new year, so that they kind of get some time, maybe some extra time to grow and develop roots. And then I'm hoping that next season when I plant them out, they'll be just that much bigger and a little bit more established and just, a little bit, bigger. So here's what I'm going to start. So Indian Summer Rudbeckia, which is really beautiful. I grew some of this at my garden plot and really liked it. And so I thought I would do one of these. I want to do some Joe Pyeweed over in my little perennial area. I have a container that I actually want to put it into, even though it grows super tall, and I've got a fence near it, so I should be able to secure it. And I want to get some of that started. And that's just the classic Joe Pyeweed. Then some red butterfly milkweed. I'm going to do a couple of these just to tuck into different areas in the garden next year, but I always think this is so pretty. I do have a hard time with milkweed typically. I've tried to start that the showy milkweed, the classic milkweed that you see in the fields and everything. I've tried to start that so many times and never gotten it to sprout. So we'll see if the butterfly weed, if that milkweed is different. Hopefully it sprouts a little bit easier. Then I'm going to do some verbena always really pretty. A tender perennial, but for me, my verbena has come back really well. So I feel good about this. And then I'm gonna see if I can game the system with a biennial. So if you know foxglove, you know that they bloom, a lot of them, there are annual foxgloves, but a lot of them bloom the second year. So I'm trying to see if I can trick it by getting it started now. Maybe they'll think this is the first year, and then maybe it'll bloom next year. But this is a total, like, we'll just see what happens. And then I'm gonna do one of these really pretty starlight echinacea. Just, this is basically one of those like pretty classic looking purple cone flowers. An anise hyssop, again, just one of each of these. I didn't realize how many I had until I brought the seeds out here. But this is a really great one for pollinators. They really love it. One of these marmalade rudbeckias. And then these are the squash. A Waltman butternut and a Gelber Englisher custard. And the squash I'm really only starting in cups because I want to leave the squash that I have in the ground as long as possible. I've got a couple plants that I'm not sure if they're actually going to produce, but I figure I'll give them a chance and I'll let them, you know, that a couple weeks while this squash gets going, I'll give them a chance for those squashes to produce anything, and then if they don't, I'll rip them out and put the new squash in. But I also have a very hungry chipmunk that's been hanging around the garden causing problems, so this way I can keep these seeds out of the chipmunk's reach until they sprout. And I just have like a seed tray and I'll probably just cover it, and then once they sprout, then I can just take it off. And I have like a normal seed tray, and I'm just going to put on its like seed tray cover, and then once everything's sprouted, I'll take that off and let the plants just do their thing. I am going to start all of these outside. I have the great sunlight, I have the beautiful warm temperatures, it's nice and hot out. None of these are cool weather crops, so they should all germinate in the heat, and that way it just saves space inside, and I really just only need to worry about the little chipmunk. So here is the seed setup I'm going to use. I really debated doing like nursery cups because I have a bunch of them, and what I decided to do is I'm going to save all those nursery cups that I do have, and once the perennials have gotten a little bit bigger, I will transplant them up into bigger, like the little, 4-inch containers that you see at the garden center, and I'll transplant them up into that probably for the winter, so that they're good to go for the winter. But for right now, they're going to be such little seedlings. This conserves space. It's easy. It's super easy to water them. The squash I'm going to do in cups. So I'm just going to put a little drainage in these paper cups. But yeah, I'll do the squash in the cups because that will just be so much better for squash because they're a bigger seedling. I'm so sorry about all these air conditioners turning on. It is so hot today, and my hose. This is a heat wave. We are in full on summer right now. Okay, so now I have to label all my seeds. This is going to be important, especially because these are all for the long haul. These are going to be growing for a while. And I'm just thinking about this while I was putting all the soil in here. It's almost like I'm growing these as annuals, like annuals that I can get started now. That's kind of like how I'm thinking of it. I cannot write and talk at the same time, so I'm going to write all of these out and then I'll get them sown. Everyone's air conditioners keep, like, one after another keep turning on. I hope you can hear me at all. I'm so sorry. If I don't do this now, I'll like never get it done, but I don't know how much you can hear. Alright, so now I ended up kind of laying it out so that I'm going to do 2 of everything just to give myself a little bit of backup just in case. So let's do the Joe Pye weed first. Very excited about this. Joe Pye weed is such a pretty, like, quintessential kind of perennial. I don't know, it just, to me, it screams like that beautiful summer garden, just the whole thing. I love Joe Piley. The Rudbeckias are also, this is the Indian Summer, are also just such epic, classic, gorgeous plants. And what I like about them, if I can open the seed packet, is that they tend to take a little bit more like part-ish shade better than some of the other things, which, if you know me, I have very few spots in this garden that are like full sun. So something that can handle a little bit of part shade is nice. I feel like it just gives me, you know, that much more like wiggle room, because it's always tricky for me with the full sun lovers. I've got like a couple prime spots of full sun, and so they have to go in those. Okay, here we go, milkweed. I really hope the milkweed does well. My verbena. Verbena is always something too that I can get at the garden center, like if this doesn't work out. But I'm gonna do a bunch because I kind of want to put verbena into a bunch of different little places. Verbena is one of those that's like a very airy little plant, and so it's a nice plant that you can kind of stick in and around things, because it'll just grow up and bloom in different spots. I'm going to do 3 of the foxglove just in case. This is one of those really pretty like pinkish ones. So stunning. Ooh, tiny seeds. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, let's do our best. Definitely a surface sow on those. This is why I'm starting everything in these little trays. You know, I'm going to bump them up quickly. I have to say, I have found that if you start them in things like this, like, you know, don't plan on growing your plants for a long time in these, because it will put too much pressure on them. But for a little bit, at least to get started, this will be good, and I can protect it from the chipmunks, because boy, the chipmunks are just causing me trouble. Okay, now some anise hyssop. I do not have room for all these perennials. I may have to give some of them to my friends. Luckily I have a lot of family and friends who garden too, but I'm just like looking at this like, do I have room? This is why I named the channel The Reckless Garden, because I don't always think before I sow. Also, if you see this terrible looking dead, these are those 2 plants. This is the passion flower, the ones that I ordered online. I did those videos about ordering stuff online. The passion flower looks okay so far. The honeysuckle, I don't know if it's gonna make it. Okay, so those are all my perennials sown here. I am going to come back out with a mister and mist everything in, and then I will water from the bottom going forward. And then these are going to be like super fast, quick turnaround. I'll probably be planting them out in like a week or 2, so it's a little different. I'll just take them off the tray when I need to water them after the initial water in. I'll do 3. Well, actually I'm just gonna do 2 seeds. See what happens. And then our butternut. I just thought it'd be fun to try to grow some butternut squash here before, before fall. And again, not entirely sure how that will work. We're gonna give it a go. Okay. So all these seeds are gonna come back inside. And then this is the cover. Let's hope it fits over these cups. I really hope it fits, I really hope. Yes. I got these trays from Park Seed. I know people will ask. They're really cute. So that should keep, these are closed, that should keep the chipmunks out. I hope. Anyways, so I'm just gonna mist it, keep it watered. I will keep you updated as I continue to show you around the garden, and I'll let you know how this all go. But thank you so much for watching and bearing with all of the noise of all the air conditioners and the heat. Even though we're getting into August here, it is not too late to experiment, to sow things, to have fun. You can always give it a try and see what happens. So thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a great day in your garden. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.